How long does water keep, I wonder, in like a sealed container? Because I think that water's still. I thought I'd start out different than just saying hello. And I needed water anyway. So, anyways, let's see if I can settle in here. I just read that apparently, like less than a month ago, the Republican led Senate was on board with the $1,200 stimulus check. The Democratic led House was on board with the $1,200 stimulus check. And the president was saying it might even be more than $1,200. Now, the Senate's new proposal does not include that $1,200. And I guess I'm not the only idiot around because what I was reading is saying a lot of people already spent that money. Now, I spent that money unwisely because I did speculation with cards instead of flipping the cards, which means I cannot sell the cards that I bought. I have been selling cards and doing quite well at it, but I spent a lot of money on maybes, not sure things. So I got a lot of maybes sitting around here instead of cash. And somebody owes me a lot of money, and they make a lot of money. And I was kind of counting on them to pay me back, and I might have to ask them um, today, but they did not. They paid me back a small amount of money and said they would write me a check, and they did not write me a check. They had just their leftover cash from their day of shopping and gave it to me, and also did not bring me cat litter. So I'm using like a tiny litter box, and it smells like a monkey cage out there. It might smell worse than a monkey cage out there. So not only is like outside my little cubicle, a Noriega-like compound of noise, if you get that reference. Well, you probably get that reference. It's not like I'm gonna have a lot of young people watching this. Anyways, not only is it like I'm a Panamanian dictator trapped in a compound with a Spice Girls song, I think it was, playing over and over again at full decibel volume, but my Spice Girl is just stomping around upstairs, but it smells horrible out there. Now, I was heartless last night and threw the cat out because he is a litter box destroyer, and he also shit right beside the door for some reason, which I got to quick enough, but I have to do a better job cleaning it up, and I don't know why he did that. But he's not the brightest cat in the world, and like I said, I was in here. He's banned from my prison here uh, because I let him in here and let him lay in bed with me, and I had the door open a crack. And instead of going and like leaving out the door, he ran around in the worst place possible in this room, besides inside the closet. Maybe I could actually get inside the closet, and he took a growler, which is an expression I heard on a show called The Boys. But he took a growler, and a foul, nasty one, right back there behind that headboard. Now to move that, I cannot move this bed at all. It's not like it's just trust me, it's impossible to move it. And I moved it a couple of inches. To move it a couple of inches was an incredible feat of strength. And yeah, to move it, I would have to move the mattress, move the box springs, and even then it would be difficult, like sliding it over, like because it's wooden and it's got drawers in it and it's got the slats and it's heavy. And anyways, moving the headboard to get to said growler, I would have to flip the headboard over, roll the headboard practically out of the room, walk around there, and somehow get behind there to clean that up. So that particular day I was in the mood already. I couldn't believe he did that. And so I thought I was moving out of here. So I just threw kitty litter on top of it because I can't reach it the way the room's set up. The way the room's set up, I'd have to rearrange the whole damn room. I'd have to move the recliner. At the time, I would have had to move a big box of stuff. I would have had to move an air conditioner that's now in the window. You know, it would have been an all-day project on bad legs and possibility of falling or injuring my back or whatever. So I was like, I'm just throwing kitty litter on top of it. Screw it, you know, whatever. And so I definitely can't have him in here because he's got his own litter box back there. So I just threw like pounds of kitty litter on top of this stinky pile of crap back there. Because I thought I was moving. So I've been sleeping in a room every night, like a few feet away from a pile of crap with litter thrown over top of it. Because, like I said, I never thought I'd be living here. I had like $6,000 at the time. And now I'm begging for money from somebody that owes me money. And why they don't have money, I don't know. I understand that they're unemployed, but you got to understand they're making like $25 an hour minimum, and their job is so good that when they get a per diem, you know, they get like so much money when they travel to eat a day. The person gets $58 a day just for food. You know, like I can live on $58 a week when it comes to food, and I've lived on less. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I just bought a card. I couldn't pass it up. It's too good of a deal. Uh, and I'm like, well, I'm selling some cards today to pay for a card that I just bought. So I'm kind of like I'm making money, but I'm reinvesting the money in stuff that I can make more money on. And then I got like I put together like 40 auctions to go off at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on NFL Sunday, and I'm going to do some more of those today. I got my cards laid out here already. I got a funny thing like here's a normal size card. This card is a very valuable card. It could be worth a lot of money, but there's a normal size card. I got these funny cards. Like this is thing right here. Just look at the size difference. Yeah. This guy was a big deal at one time. This is the way football cards work, though. This guy was a big deal at one time. Edgerrin James, he played for the Colts with Peyton Manning. He was one of the top running backs in the league. That card is pretty much worthless. This is a rare card. It's also an oversized card. I'm gonna sell with the biggest card I've ever seen. This like oops. You may have heard of this guy, Jerome Bettis. They call this guy the Bus, and this is a regular size card. So, um, yeah, this card's actually worth a few dollars because of its rarity. Um, and it's even got to have a special container or a special hard case, as as opposed to these smaller hard cases, or the end of it would hang out, or I'd have to put two on it and glue them together or something, or tape them together rather. Um, but yeah, so that was like a shock because I was like, I haven't checked in on the stimulus thing yet for a while. And I wonder how they're coming with that. Here's how they're coming. It's probably not going to be a stimulus check. I was like, I can't believe that. You know, I suppose I should believe it, but yeah, I don't know why. I guess the Republicans are cocky because the Democratic candidates are so weak, and Trump's popularity is on the rise. You know, this bipartisan politics shit. I mean, I haven't put a lot of thought into it. If it's like why it has to be broken down into two parties, I'm sure that there's a logical reason that has to do with numbers and the way when you divide up into sides, like for war. Okay, he had all these countries at war in World War II, but they had to take a binary sides when you fight. You know, you can't all be like fighting each other like all at the same time. You know, like it could have been Germany and Japan against Japan, Japan against Germany, Germany against the United States against Japan, Italy. You know, it didn't work like that. So you had the Axis powers, which were, I believe, Germany, Japan, and Italy, versus the Allies, which was England at the time. I guess the UK. I don't know. And you had the United States, and I don't know who else. So forgive me for not giving you your honorable mentions. Other countries that fought on the side of not killing people for no apparent reason, other than the fact that they were gay, gypsies, didn't follow, didn't like fascism. And the Jews really made hay. I'm not being anti Semitic because you can't bring this up, but they're really made hay off of the Holocaust. And like there was tons of other groups that were killed uh, in the millions that were killed. Gays, retarded people, people. I would have been killed. I would have been in the gas chamber. Cripples, just anybody that was thought to be genetically inferior or undesirable um, were killed. But somehow it ended up like I guess when you're hated as much as the Jewish people have been hated throughout history. They have a thing called the pogroms in Russia. If you want to read up on it, it's Pogroms. If you're not familiar with that, but it basically got chased out of every fucking country that they were ever in, and that's why they made their own little country called Israel. Um, so I understand them using it for political hay, but it's like they weren't the only ones that Hitler didn't like. It was about the Aryan race. It's about the Mastales, and unfortunately, America is kind of responsible for his thinking because there was a guy named Madison Grant who wrote a book called The Passing of the Great Race that was pretty much the blueprint for Hitler and his ideas. Hitler called that book, written by an American eugenics racist guy, uh, his Bible. So good job, Madison Grant. Though he would have probably come up with them evil ideas anyway. Now, there's a possibly apocryphal story that Hitler hated Jews so much because when he was a young man, he banged a Jewish prostitute, and that's how he got syphilis. Because I don't know if it's ever been confirmed or not, but a lot of people believe that Hitler had syphilis and was slowly, like, his mind was slowly rotting with it because syphilis is really nasty. Um, but that's just like a theory, and like I didn't read all of Mein Kampf, which means My War, written by Adolf Hitler, because it's not a very good book. For one thing, not very well written. It's not a cheery little book, but if you look at certain passages in that book, yeah, I can see where somebody might draw that conclusion. But anyways, they claim that's where his anti-Semitism. I think he was just a hateful little fucker, and he was going to end up hating on people regardless. But this guy named Madison Grant, he was an American writer and, of course, extremely rich as well, and wrote a book about the Aryan race called "The Passing of the Great Race." So there, I learn stuff sometimes, and I'm very annoying with it. I got up very early today. Um, I had to wake up early because this guy that I just bought this card off of, that's extremely rare, and it's also graded on top of it. Um, he don't know what he's doing. You know, it's a predatory business. You got to take advantage of people that don't know what they're doing. If he was smart, he would have pulled that card down like I do. It's like if I'm not getting any watchers or any bids on a card, and it's like clear that I'm going to get nailed on that card, you pull it down. You just write there was an error in the listing or whatever, and you pull it down, and it's kosher because nobody bid on it. You're allowed to do it. This is what this guy should have done. You do not put a card at 8 in the morning to go off Eastern Standard Time because, yeah, that means like the people in Central Time zones or like the people in LA and California. That's 5 in the morning. That's not exactly like prime buying hours. You know what I'm saying? So you don't do that. But anyways, I have to call my aid agency and find out what's going on with them today. Uh, find out when they're going, when or if I'm going to get an aid worker because mm, Denise, we'll call her. I don't really like just calling her fat and lazy. I'm really not a really mean guy. Whether though she is fat and lazy. Um, whether her heart thing or she had a heart appointment or whatever, but she missed her last. They give you like a regular person, and they, you know, it's easier to have like a regular person that knows your shopping routine, what you buy, or what you want, or whatever. Now this last lady that I had, I want her for an aid worker, but she had a broke foot. But she's smart, efficient, willing to work, and I was like, I remember you, and she's like, a lot of people like. I think she used the phrase "vote me down," meaning that she has a lot of complaints from her clients, and I was like, maybe she was like, maybe it's my personality. I don't know. And I was like, well, I like you because you're efficient, and whatever personality you provide is just a bonus. And she thought that was funny, but I was like, yeah, I'm glad I, because I was explaining things unnecessarily to her. She's like, yeah, yeah, I know. She already checked up, because I told the dispatcher that I wanted somebody to go to the bank, and she was getting here at 3:30, and she actually came here at like 3:20 to make sure she had enough time to get to the bank for me. I wish I had her for a regular, but she's not sure what's wrong with the doctors aren't sure what's wrong with her foot, whether it's a broken bone, torn tendons, or what. They haven't really messed with it yet. They just wanted to wear a cast all the time. And she claims it doesn't hurt if she has the cast on and she's not moving it. And but at the same time, the cast, of course, is driving her crazy. And it's one of them like not like a plaster cast, but it's one of them removable type of things. But she said she doesn't really want to remove it. She doesn't want to wear it either. But yeah, she's great. She's the best one. So it's like, yeah, I want her. Um, no, she never did any help. I never only had her a couple of times, but every time she's like smart as a whip, and you know, you don't have to explain stuff to her. And like I said, she actually did research for her visit, and made sure she was not only on time but early. So I got my minuscule little money that somebody gave me that, and I got that in the bank. Um, but like I said, there's certain things you can't pass up on, and yeah, can't pass up on this opportunity. Uh, I have to do more work, which it's weird. I can do it laying in bed. Like I said, I just got those card stands, and I already got my cards all like piled up here, and I just like take pictures of it, and then it's annoying. You have to send it. I don't know how else to do it. There's probably some way you hook your phone up directly to your computer and all that shit, but I don't know how to do that. But so I gotta go through each picture, send it to my email, download it out of my email before I can use it, and put it up. And it's like very time consuming and annoying, and like you have to concentrate on kind of what you're doing and not get distracted. It's kind of a tricky thing. You don't write the mass ad. There's ways to do it that you know it's it. it's a volume thing. You're not looking to like talk about each card, so you have like a form thing. Like I could probably remember what mine said. Photos of exact cards pictured. Please study the pictures. Combined shipping $1 for each additional auction one. United States Postal Service postal rates are brutal. Therefore, I have to charge $4.20 for shipping. That's to encourage people to try to combine shipping with the $1 and buy other crap. I'm selling mostly individual cards. Um, like I sold 11 things, and my gross was $637. And then you get all the bites taken on top of it. Now, certified mail, somebody suggested where you get a signature. Like that's too expensive because you're getting all these bites taken out of your profit already, and you sort of have to roll the dice. This is a weird situation I got going on with this guy, and I've been talking to him about it. I was like, look, he was like hinting around that maybe like I should have used the eBay labels and stuff because eBay wants you to do everything through them so they can make more money off of you. But I just like look up the address and write it down by hand because I don't know. I'm not a moron. I can write down the address. I don't need a label. I don't need to pay for eBay label and and all that crap and print it out like over the computer or however it works. I don't know. You hook your I imagine you hook your computer up to your printer and you print it out this label and whatever. It's like eBay don't do nothing for free. I forgot to mention the fact that they not this is something they didn't do in the past. They take 10% of whatever you charge for shipping. It's like what the fuck does that have to do with them? It don't have nothing to do with them. Why are you taking 10% of like why are you taking 42 cents off of me? Just randomly. And if they do this with everybody, 42 cents times a billion or however many people sell on there, you're making millions of dollars. You know, however many sales get sold on there, it's like God, that's just ruthless. It's what does that have to do to you? Do with you? How much I'm charging for shipping? That's between me, the post office, and the buyer. It don't got nothing to do with you. I can understand the final value fee, because you're using their company, their service, or whatever, and they take 10%. You sell something for $70, they take $7 off of it. I can understand that. That's a commission, whatever. But man, when I found out that they were taking 10% of the shipping, it's like, okay, now I understand why all these people are offering free shipping. Um, so yeah, somebody yelling outside my window at 8:30 in the morning. It's always charming. I mean, there was madness going here yesterday. Somebody was fighting with a dog upstairs. I was like, man, I hope y'all are getting robbed. I hope y'all are getting robbed because the dog was just going bananas. I mean, it's like I think I said a couple of videos. It's been very quiet lately, but yeah, I did not have my best day yesterday because this is a very time-consuming. You probably can't hear that, but it's somebody yelling at a dog outside. Like right, garbage cans are out there. Garbage day's tomorrow. Somebody's putting something in the garbage and yelling at their dog like right outside my window at 8:30 in the morning. I love living here. It's a wonderful, beautiful place to live. Um, Someday, my inner old man, and by old man I mean my father. Someday that motherfucker's gonna escape, and I'll have a machete in my hand again. Okay, she's coughing. I guess I can forgive that. She'll probably fucking die or something. And frankly, I wish she would die sometimes. I mean, I've kind of turned evil as I've gotten older. It's like she's just coughing really loud outside my window. I thought she was yelling, but from crack and chain smoking. And she's actually not that bad of a person. If you can hear me right now, you're not that bad of a person. but you're annoying and fucking loud. Um, why are you coughing? It really sounds bad, but I remember when, what would she be? I don't know. She's my cousin's daughter, whatever the fuck that is. But when she moved in here, she was like, "Oh my God, this woman! When you hear her coughing, you wonder why she's not dead. It's horrible because they got thin walls in this place." And her apartment was upstairs, right next to Coffee and Stampy's apartment that's right over top of me. She did not live here long. She handed the keys off to the pocket maniac, and he's gone now. Um, and then the pocket maniac, of course, kicked her out, took the place over, and had no electricity for like months, and was drunk all the time, um, with a bunch of candles burning in his house. So I thought he was going to burn the apartment down. Plus, he had admitted that he committed arson and burned somebody's house down and threw a Molotov cocktail through their window. And I knew it was true because he backpedaled on it and he realized, oh, I'm drunk. I shouldn't have said that. And he goes, I was just in the car. I didn't, it wasn't my idea. But they actually threw a Molotov cocktail through somebody's window and burned down their house over some kind of dispute of some kind, which I don't remember if it involved drugs or women or what. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Bye bye. Yeah, that's why I was, you know, I, that's why I like had to exert my dominance with the dude and be like, man, you fuck with me, there's gonna be fucking consequences. And I like almost broke his arm that one day. It's like because I know what he's capable of. I don't give a damn if he's a pocket-sized motherfucker. Pocket-sized guys are the kind of guys you gotta watch out for because they will shank you in the back. So I had to grab a hold of his arm and get him in an arm bar and shake his fucking arm and just said, yeah, you think I'm some kind of weak fucking old man or something? Is that what you fucking think? I was like, you think pain means anything to me? And I had that big deep thigh bruise on my leg, and I had shorts on, and I punched it really hard just to fucking make a point. Scared the fuck out of him. But his dad's like a maniac, so he's kind of used to people acting like that. But then he's like, man, you hurt my arm, man, you hurt my feelings, and his arm was fucked up for a couple of days. And I said, yeah, I could have dropped the elbow on your arm and broke it off at the joint if I wanted to. I didn't do that though, because yeah, you don't want to do that kind of shit, you know, because revenge. Because the guy will maybe throw him out a cocktail. He always used to talk about like, man, I'll burn this whole fucking place to the ground. Like when that meth house was empty, that's how he got onto the arson talk. Because he was like, somebody got to burn that thing down, man. He's like, just more people are gonna come there and crash there. More homeless people, or meth cooks, or God knows what else. Somebody just ought to burn it to the ground, and that got him talking about arson that one day. Yeah, so coffee ain't so bad, I guess, right? Uh, but yeah, that's kind of rude. Considering it's very early in the morning. As you can see, the sun is just peeking over the horizon. By the horizon, I mean very tall trees. I got a light on in the room. Um, yeah, but I digressed, of course, because that is what I do. That's the way my mind works in a very ornate and baroque, broken fashion. But I talked to the guy about the mail thing, and I had the Sharp aid worker like uh, check at the post office, and they delivered. According to them, they delivered a package to his house. And I wrote him. I said, ordinarily, when that happens, the seller just says, "I did my job." You know, it's like, but I want to keep. He could still leave me a negative feedback. And I could write underneath the feedback, "Hey, I can show you the receipt. The shit got delivered. whatever. But I don't want that on my record. I want to have a spotless record. Like I told the guy, I have pounds of cards to sell. It's like, because he's like, oh, you're cool. Thanks for being cool about it. I was like, it's not a matter of me being cool, dude. It's like I got to make sure I got pounds of cards to sell, and I got to make sure that my feedback stays intact and there's no blemishes on it at all. I mean, eventually that's going to happen because you're always going to run into an asshole. But yeah, it's like no, I'm not being cool about it. It's like as far as I'm clean, in eBay's eyes, and I did my job. The post office fucked up. The post office will fuck up. Like it's kind of ironic. On Saturday, the guy that I never talked to in the wheelchair uh, opened up one of my packages, thinking it was Nicorette gum, and he like wrote an email. He wrote a text message to me, and he says, "Got one of your packages by mistake. Left it outside the door. We won't talk." And he had a little post-it note. I didn't even read the post-it note. I just left it in the hallway as a message to him. I don't know what the post-it note was, but he opened it. It's probably like, sorry for opening your package or whatever, but I just left it in the hallway so he'd see it. Because, the guy is kind of responsible for me breaking my toes, him and the landlord both, because he went behind my back about the ceiling. You know that story. And it's like, man, you getting in my business, calling the landlord behind my back about shit that's going on in my apartment. We done. That's it. I told him, and then he was calling me a pussy and like, you're just being stupid, holding on to a food. He was like taking the side of Gerald, and Gerald like mocks him behind his back to me. And I was tempted to like. I thought it was moving, but I was going to show him a video where I had Gerald on tape laughing at him for being stupid. He's like, man, you're siding with him. He's like, he is a good con man because that guy is not stupid. That guy's been to prison. He's been around. He's older than I am, and he's siding with Gerald over me. And I've always been nice to that guy. Always helped him out in any way possible. And yeah, so it's like after he did that, he's like, you get in my business and go behind the back, my back, talk to the landlord, take his side, call me a pussy, and like I'm being silly, holding on to grudges. It's like when did we develop this codependent relationship? That's my family's job to make me feel like that, not you. Like, what the fuck is your issue? So yeah, I was like, this is the last word you'll hear from me in print or in person, and I've held to it. And that happened in November after my toes got broke. It's like the guy in a wheelchair over there and the landlord conspired to break my toes. How they did that, well, it's tricky. But I didn't have any aid help or anything like that. You know the story. I had to do a bunch of work clearing out a space. So, because he had the plumber coming in. Now, what I could have done if I wasn't a prideful person is just leave the place all fucked up and make them do it. But I wanted it to get over with as soon as possible because I think this is the part where they had to rip up the ceiling and replace an old pipe with like PC piping in the ceiling. So they were here like all fucking day. Anyway, and I just wanted them out of here as soon as possible. If I had any sense, I would have just left the place a mess and say like, good luck with that. But I'm like a prideful dude and whatever. So I did a bunch of housework, wore my legs out, and then slipped and fell from having worn out legs and slammed my toe into a heater. And I got a picture, of course, of my toes like that, like one toe at 12 o'clock and one toe at 9 o'clock. Hell, that's, yeah, not supposed to go that way. So, point being of that is the mail and the post office fucks up, and they've been fucking up more since the COVID thing. Though they got their stimulus package because of mail-in balloting. You know those mail-in votes, man. But they got their stimulus package in August for $25 billion was allocated to the post office because they were understaffed. And but even before then, they would deliver. I would get other people's mail. I got his mail and opened it by accident before. He's got my mail and opened it by accident before. Uh, Actually, in the wintertime, one of the favors I did for him was he got a check and opened it that was this guy's check that Eric that used to live in this house over here that had kids and had to move during the meth crisis because I don't know, he was living across from a meth house that might blow up. That was sanctioned by Gerald and being operated out of this building. But anyways, so it was wintertime. He's in a wheelchair. There's snow like this out there. So, I had trouble with my cane, but he's like, can you give this to Eric? So I went over there and knocked on his door, walked through the snow and knocked on his door and gave him this check. And he's like, oh, thank God, man. I was worried about this check. He was just like, I need this. I don't know what kind of check it was, if it was an unemployment check or what the hell it was. But, anyways, that house has been empty since the meth days, and it's going to stay empty this winter. He tried to sell it, and he tried to sell it to me. He was offering it to me, and was like, dude, I don't have credit to buy a box of chiclets, man. I can't. Yeah, I can't swing that. Because he's like, man, I'll rent that house to you. But I didn't say that about the chiclets and not having credit. I just said, it's not far enough away from Gerald. I'd still be living next to one of Gerald's properties. Because he hated Gerald, man. Hates him. Hates him. And he, yeah. Because, the guy was happy living there with his family. His wife was, when he moved, had the big belly, and she was 6, 7, 8, 9 months pregnant. I don't know, big ass stomach on her. And they had 2 little kids, and because of this guy that rents this building, his kids are in jeopardy because there's a meth house across the street. And he was telling me, man, he's like, I don't understand it. They're not even sly about it. And he said, I've seen a guy come out with a brick of money in cellophane. He said it was wrapped up in saran wrap or something like that, and just hand it to somebody. He said, I'm talking about thousands of dollars. It's right in the street they do this shit, And then we had the Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead situation here, where the meth zombies were walking around the building all day, and he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving." I don't know, if he had another place to go, if he bought another place or whatever. He wasn't really poor. I don't know what he did for a living, but I think really he had some inheritance money, is what it was. Um, that's what I think. So I think he just bought a house somewhere else and is going to sell this house. But yeah. Um, so the point being is, male fuck ups happen. The guy is probably being honest with me and just didn't get his shit. I'm within my rights to say, look, man, the post office tells me that it was delivered to your address. It's it's a post office fuck up. It's not my fault, and I could write, I can't control where the post office sends stuff, and I can't uh, be paying for signature confirmation or certified mail. I can't do that and still be making any kind of a profit off of these cards, you know. I mean, not every sale is going to be buy it for 27.50, sell it for 120. It's not every sale is like that. Sometimes it's buy it for $15, sell it for $30. And after all the cuts, and you're paying for special mail on top of it, you ain't got nothing. That's it. You're just yeah, I don't know. I'm trying this thing where it works sometimes, where you just put massive amount of ads on there, and then people do a run on your cards because it's you charge them $4.25 for shipping. You have other cards that they want, and they're like, well, I can get a deal, this. And I put everything up for this 99-cent starting bid, So they're like, man, I can grab this card. It only cost me $2. Grab this card. Grab this card. I get suckered by that sometimes. Grab this card. Grab this card. And before you know it, man, you spend like $40. So that was my idea. Um, it's probably getting on towards 9 o'clock. I haven't been wrapped. I've been wrapped up in this mess, uh, trying to liquidate these cards because of no stimulus check and no money being paid back from somebody that owes me like $2,400. My idea is like, you know, it's not my idea to, um, well, it's complicated. But I'm still getting like extra food money I don't need, so I'm just letting them spend it. They're over $1,000 in the food money, and another loan in there of $1,400. Um, I had like $6,000, and then my brother didn't want it, so I was like, well, this other person needs it. They they had somebody crashed their car. I was like, man, like, because they're making so much money, and this was before COVID hit. I was like, you know, a couple grand ain't shit to them. You know, if you're making 25, $30 an hour, you're getting $58 a day per diem just for food, and then like they're actually thrifty. They're eating at Subway. They're not, so they're like pocketing $45 a day wherever they're at, wherever they're stationed at. Um, so it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. But it's coming back to bite me in the ass now. So uh, yeah, you know, I don't know. You just don't know how things are going to work out. And uh, Benjamin Franklin said, "Never a borrower nor a lender be." And it's, you want to make an enemy, try to do them a favor about loaning them money. I found that out, man. Because I'm always the saver guy, and I always want to help like people, and they get resentful because you loaned them money, and when they needed help, they get resentful when you ask them back for it. Like, I don't know, even if it's months down the road. It's like, nobody forced you to take that money, and sometimes it's like, sometimes I would offer, but sometimes they be asking for the money too, and then they still get resentful. And it's like, why are you resentful the fact that you ain't good with money, man? Look in the mirror, get better with money. Don't be borrowing money. It's like, a lot of these people got jobs, and you're borrowing money off a cripple, and then you get mad at them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh yeah, you're crazy and dysfunctional. And family, man, gotta love them, can't kill them. Uh, yeah, that's just a weird thing. I'm sorry about it. This always happens when I get on camera. Um, man, fruit fly up there or something. But yeah, I just found that phenomenon that I've learned through the years. It's just weird. It's like, yeah, I'm loaning you money and helping you out, and it's like, then you hate me for it. And like I know that my foster brothers felt that sting a couple of times, you know, because I haven't talked to him in over a year now, and he come around bumming money here and there for this, that, or the other, you know, and I'm like, yeah, a couple winters back, you know, you're not supposed to talk about these things. It takes away from your generosity if you're bragging about them. But I mentioned this before, but I paid uh, to have their furnace fixed. And I'm like, you got anybody else that you can just like, I don't know, just borrow $200 on a whim like that? You know, just ask a curiosity. He's like, no. He might have said something like, I don't have anybody that I could borrow $50 off of on a whim. It's like, now you got nobody, because people likes the money. They don't like to part with it. But me, I'm a saver guy. I always have extra money, except for right now because shit happens. So it's not a big deal to me. You know, if there's one alcoholic guy that I used to loan, he was a great guy to loan money to, because that dude was like clockwork. If he told you he was going to pay you back on a specific day at a specific time, he was there on time like it was court. I'm serious, man. It's like I would loan money to that dude at any time, and he's a bad alcoholic. And um, let's just put it this way: um, I saw a mug on the internet that was it says "Wake and Bake" on it, and I don't know if it's a functional pipe, but it has like the coffee handle has a little like breathing part in there, and it goes down into a bowl. This guy smokes so much weed. He smokes weed. He works in a freezer. He smokes weed with his coffee in the morning. On lunch breaks, he drives around smoking weed in his car on the lunch break. Dude ain't never sober. He's a drunk or high or a combination thereof all the time. And he can smoke some weed. You don't like. He's also a weed snob, so the weed they got is like crazy powerful. That's the thing about like medicinal marijuana. Like I never tried cannabis oil or anything like that. When you're talking about CRPS, you're talking about like King Kong as far as like pain medication to knock any of that shit back. You're talking about a big old gorilla. So a little tiny tranquilizer dart ain't gonna do it. So it's like, I don't know about the cannabis oil or whatever. I haven't tried it. I think you can buy that like probably at Walmart or something. I think it's legal just to buy that anywhere. Usually, if it's legal, it means it doesn't really work. It's not. It's not that powerful. In other words, you know, you don't buy codeine at CVS or whatever. I don't know if that's a national drugstore chain or not, but you don't go to your drugstore and find codeine next to the aspirin. Um, some that actually works for pain. So, um, yeah, I lost my train of thought. I should try eating more than once a day. Uh, but anyways, I was talking about like the weed thing. It's like I was thinking about that because I was pounding one out the other day, and I was like, man, I got this big screen TV. It's so much easier and better to jack off when you're high off your ass on some good marijuana, and it's like it's just like makes everything better. It's like easier to get excited. Just it's like uh, oil in a smooth running machine. It's like I almost said lubricant. It just makes everything go better. It's just better. But I can't do that because it gets my heart rate up. Now I'm thinking, like, if I ever have enough money to buy legal marijuana, and in Ohio, like they have a list of qualifications. Like I hit at least three of them. Where I'm qualified um, to get legal marijuana, but in their hypocrisy, uh, there's no insurance in Ohio that'll cover it. It's got to come out of your own pocket. So, like I said, in the other video, I had grand plans because I used to know all them potheads. Like, man, I want to get that medicinal grade. I think it's in vape form, and but it's just straight up THC. And I actually talked it out with the weed dealer named Bobby, and Bobby told me that he's like, yeah, man, there's good money in those. He's like, you know. So I was talking. I sounded him out about it, and one of the most careless weed dealers I ever saw, and he's been popped before, and had to go to jail for it. Like when it's, but he actually used to live next door to my foster brother, and my foster brother wanted to buy some weed off of him. He come over there with a freaking bag stuffed in his stomach like a Santa Claus belly, and it was just a ridiculous, like huge. He didn't bother, man. It was just like a huge thing of weed, And it was so much weed, and he was so careless that he dropped a bud on the floor that was like this big. And my foster brother picked it up off the floor, and he was like, bonus. It's like that bud that he dropped on the floor was probably worth like $20 by itself, minimum. And I was like, what in the fuck are you doing? I mean, I guess a sellable amount is a sellable amount, you know, but this it's like the dude is not going to buy a year's supply of marijuana, so don't be lazy. Or maybe he took it because he was doing his runs, because he was like a Pizza Hut delivery man. He was a very convenient weed dealer because you can just call him up and he'll go run it to your house. He'll take the risk. You don't got to go to his house. He didn't want nobody coming to his house. He liked to do business that way, you know, which kind of makes sense because you don't want a lot. That's how I know there's a problem here is when there's a lot of traffic going back and forth, and it's the same haggard, grizzled faces. So it kind of makes sense, but it was just kind of funny. It's like, yo, Domino's, can I get me some hydro and some pepperonis? So yeah, just call them up. You just drive to your house and drop off whatever you need. It's like I've done it from my foster brother's house before. Watched my foster brother do it, hook up other people. He used to be like a weed broker, like between this drug dealer and other people. So he would get a cut, you know. It worked out pretty good for him because he'd get free weed. So, and he also got fatter stacks or packages, or I don't know. You know what I mean. He get a heavier baggie from Bobby because Bobby loved the fact that he hooked him up with all these new customers because my foster brother know a lot of people and know a lot of weed smokers. So he'd be like, you know, and they would be like, "Oh man, I don't want to deal with the drug dealers." So you know, they're straight people, you know, so they can be like, what would you call it? Um, one step removed from the process. They felt like safer, you know. I've seen deals go down where they come in and they're all nervous and shit. They're all dressed up. And they clearly got money, and they give the money to my foster brother, and the drug dealer had just left and dropped it off, and then I'm just sitting there watching the whole process go down. And I was like, yes, they're all nervous and shit, and all dressed real nice, looking all healthy, looking like they got regular dental care and shit. They keeping it real. Like me, man, I'm like an old blues singer now, except I can't sing, I got no teeth. And they always talk about the old inarticulate blues singers. They used to call them inarticulate. It's like there's a reason for that. You need your teeth to speak more clearly. I have found this out. What good is a gift of gab? You know, if you cannot speak clearly, what good is knowing how to dance if your feet don't work right? You know. Uh, yeah. Anyways, I seem to be in fine form as far as stringing sentences together. I don't know about keeping a common theme or a particular thread going, but I can make words. I'm just wasting. I just like talking, of course. I'm just wasting time. Really, I should um, start with the cards, get that guy's package, replacement package together, even though I don't have to, and sort through my cards and make him something and make him happy so he'll give me a positive feedback, you know. Uh, he wants to come to my house and shit. He's like, man, because he's like, he lives in Zanesville, Ohio. I live in Massillon, Ohio. It's not a far drive. And he's like, he wants to be my buddy and come to my house and just buy cards off of me in person and keep eBay out of it. The problem is eBay hates that shit, and it's like you're using the eBay message. I told him this. I was like, you cannot use a eBay message. And it's like I even like copy and pasted like this is what it says like right underneath your message. It's like we do not encourage interaction between members. Do not give out personal info. Blah blah blah. And he's like, we can um, meet together on Facebook, and you know, it's like, well, my address is actually on the envelopes of cards that I sent to you that you never got. So you just actually take my address. You got to have a return address on it. So why eBay does that, I don't know. Because when I, when you get a package, there's an address on it. You know, it's like there's where it came from and who it came from. If I had like something handy to show you, you know how it works because I sold before and they're like, you need a return address on this to ship it. So why eBay does that, I don't know. But I'm telling the guy, eBay reads this shit. You can't be asking. It's a good way to like brush somebody off. I was like, man, you cannot be asking for my personal information because they read these, and it's against eBay policy because they don't want people meeting on eBay and doing business. They want their cut. They want to dip their beak. You know, I didn't exactly use that particular mafioso phrase, but yeah, it's different than dipping your wick. It's an expression they had back in the old days. When I first heard that, I was like, "What the fuck are they?" I had to have like, I think it was in the movie The Island, written by the guy who wrote Jaws, Peter Benchley. Great book, great movie, The Island. And I had to have my cousin explain it to me because his father was a sleazebag, so he was more, he understood expressions like dip my wick. But dipping your wick is different than dipping your beak. Dipping your beak means you want to cut of whatever's going on. Profit wise, dipping your wick is an old expression. It's probably goes back to when they didn't have these. They just had candles. And people spent that time, You ever watch somebody make a candle by hand? Boy, that had to be a joy, huh? I could be. And they're like longing for the, God damn it. Old Beatrice over there, she gets to churn butter, man. I gotta do this all day. Churning butter is like way better and more exciting than dipping your wick all day. So, yeah. Ah, yeah, I gotta be careful about, I get carried away with being in love with the sound of my own voice. Even though I do not like my new dental arrangement, which does not allow me to elocute with the proper enunciation and emphasis on the correct syllables, which is a funny line. I'll give him credit that Mike Myers came up with. You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables. But yeah, man. Right now, if I had a partner as a mate, a wife, a girlfriend, or whatever, I would be excommunicated because yeah, I'm setting the world record, the indoor world record farting. I screwed that all up. That was going to be funny too, and just like an off the wall thing to say. The indoor record for farting. I am poisoning myself. I need the air conditioner. I need to open the window and flip the air conditioner around and put a fan in the window to blow the air out of here. Yeah, I am a foul human being this morning. Like, I don't know what I ate yesterday. I actually do know what I ate because I don't eat much in the way of food. So I do know what I ate. I just don't know why this is happening to me, and I'm turned into a human trumpet this morning, or tuba. I think Andre the Giant was a tuba. He was legendary because he not only enjoyed farts, but because he was a giant. They were giant farts, which went on for like ever. And there's like a documentary, a great documentary. I think it might just be called Giant, about Andre the Giant and how horrible his life was because of being over 7 foot tall and 500 pounds. Um, and there was like a whole segment in there about his legendary farting abilities and how much he enjoyed torturing people with it. And he's like, man, if you put a stopwatch on it, it'd be like 45 seconds. He just kept going. Yeah, I'm not. I don't ordinarily like fart humor, and I certainly don't like what's going on with me this morning. But fart humor like a giant having giant farts, and like having a whole segment of a documentary about a legendary figure being about his farts is just very funny to me. Yeah, it's a great documentary. I mean, you don't even have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. It's very sad too, because they can cure that nowadays, man. It's hmm, oh, gigantism. I should know the word for it. Damn it. And it has to do with your pituitary gland going out of whack and keep making you grow. They actually can cure that. There's a guy named Paul White. Um, they called him the Big Show. That's a wrestler that's about the same size as Andre the Giant, but they were able to arrest his pituitary gland, and so he has like normal non-giant like features with the big forehead and the the overdeveloped jaw and everything. But they can actually do something about that now because it's very uh, horrible for you to just grow out of control like that. It's also like people that are giant and over 7 foot, they don't seem to live too long either. Even Wilt Chamberlain that died, I think, before he was 60 years old. And when he was in his prime as a basketball player, his endurance as a basketball player was so insane that for one season, he averaged 48.5 minutes a game. There's only 48 minutes in a game. So he played every minute of every game for an entire season. Imagine a basketball player doing that now. You know, now they'll play 38 minutes. Now it's crazy if you play 40 minutes. And the style of ball that they had back then was all run and gun, man. They had that was the high paced era of you got the ball, you ran, and it was just people running all day, man. You could just run all day. So he was like in crazy shape, but apparently being over 7 foot tall puts a strain on your circulatory system. And Andre the Giant was like also a legendary drunk and was capable of um, impossible feats of drinking, but he did that because he was in so much pain all the time. Also, he used that as his painkiller. Um, yeah, he would actually. There's stories about him buying a case of beer and drinking it on the way to an event, like an entire case. And it's like, yeah, he's a, that documentary is great though. Maybe it's a guy thing, I don't know, but I love that documentary. Like he hated, well, everybody was afraid of him because, like Hulk Hogan said, he was bigger than everybody and he was stronger than everybody, and they just called him boss. He ran the locker room, so he would really had feuds going with several guys where he would beat them up in the ring, like abuse them for real. And one of those guys was Macho Man Randy Savage, who actually played his character was a what would you call him? A brutish, abusive boyfriend. But that's actually what he was. Like he had like was married to somebody that was like his wrestling character partner named Miss Elizabeth, and he would actually buy if he was gone for a week, he would buy a certain amount of frozen dinners and not want her to leave the apartment. And Andre the Giant hated that and hated him for treating her like that. He also hated the fact that he would lube up his body so he looked more muscular with baby oil. So he would be like he didn't want to get shit kicked out of him by a giant. So Macho Man was always like, hey, hey there, Andre, gonna have a good match tonight. I can't do no Macho Man imitation. And Andre the Giant would just look at him and say, no baby oil. Because he'd already be oiled up and shit. And even if he ever went into the ring on him with baby oil, he'd really beat the crap out of him. That was like his thing to make himself a little bigger. And then there was other interviews on there that were funny where um, there was like I think he was a referee or something like that. But they have an unwritten rule because wrestlers they're all a bit touched in the head. They have an unwritten rule like the locker room is the wrestler's domain. You do not come in there unless you're a wrestler. So this new first time referee guy or whatever goes in there, and Andre the Giant likes to play cards all the time. And he's like, "Oh man, it's so great to meet you, and it's so great to be here." And Andre the Giant cut him off and said, "Get out! Get out!" And he said he got out of his chair. He said the guy literally just ran out of there, and he did not understand the unwritten rules. But yeah, get out. He didn't say much. You can flip over a car. You don't have to say much. But yeah, okay. Let's see how long I've been wasting time. I don't consider it a waste of time. 9:30. Man, God damn it. I got to get off of here. I'd rather talk and amuse myself in that fashion. But I have to find out when they're coming because it could be at any time. I have to get that package together. And I have to put more cards on. They're all scheduled to go off, like I said, at the same time. And I just put up, I didn't mean to put up that many, but I put up like 90. I got maybe half of them done. And if I put them off, I can just like revise the ad. The ad says like, excellent ad to be made later is the name of the ad. And then there's like, you have to put a picture of something there. So there's like a partial picture of a card in there that you can't even tell what it is. And nothing in the description. It's just like a placeholder for an ad because a 3-day auction it costs you $1, but a 5-day auction is free. So I have to do that work. I have to talk to the aid worker. Oh, I didn't even bring up like the main thing. It's like, believe it or not, um, my medications are still not here. Like yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I said if I don't get anything going, so I don't have my blood thinners, I don't have my diazepam, I don't have my melatonin. Now I have stockpiles of melatonin and diazepam, but I do not have any stockpiles of that blood thinner shit. And because of what happened with my sister, I had a couple of bad, iffy kind of heart days. And I was like, oh, that's great. This is great timing. I always figured that my family would find some way to kill me. I always figured they would kill me one way or another. Um, but yeah, I don't even know if I want to address that, man. I'm just fucking tired of it. It's like yesterday, what happened was I didn't keep my word and make the calls because I spent hours making ads, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, I need stress relief. I'm going to do some marijuana free M&M, and then I'm calling it a day because hours upon hours of taking pictures, loading them into the computer, writing ads, like, like 45 of them. It takes time to do each one. You have to wait on the computer to work right. You have to make sure the ad's right. It's like, I don't. It actually slipped my mind until later in the day. I said, "Oh man, I didn't call about my medications and stuff." You know, I checked my phone and there's no message on my phone. I checked my pharmacy and I told my pharmacy to ask my doctor about it. Because it said, I'm due for a refill. So I was like, it has an option on the website where you can click refill. And there was like, we need doctor's permission, of course, to um, fill a Schedule 4 substance. It doesn't say that, but just says we need your doctor's permission. We will contact your doctor. And he's on vacation or some damn shit. I don't know who I'm gonna have to talk to about this. I'll probably just end up like taking care of my business today, and like if there's time or if there's not time, I'll tap into my stash. Like, I'll show you. This is like incredibly noisy. I know. A bag of random garbage. Maybe it's first try. Anyways, the blue ones. You can see that the blue ones are 10 milligrams. I'm taking 5 milligrams a day. Most of these are blue. I just threw some of the extra yellow ones in there. There's also a couple of Xanax that got in there somehow, but I don't take Xanax unless I have like an extremely bad appointment to go to where they're gonna do evil shit to me. But you know, that's my stockpile. I haven't counted it or anything, but actually, stupid thing I did, but I gave, I don't know, 30 of them away or something like that to a, I don't sell benzos, so I think it's evil. But in this case, this guy got blown up by an IED, and he was having constant spasms in his neck where he couldn't sleep, and Valium's a muscle relaxant. And I did not know that he had drug issues, and that giving him those pills would wake up a demon, the drug demon. You know, I did not know that that would set him on a bad road. I also gave that guy probably 50 Neurontin, and I have like 8 of those left. But you know, I'm not like he served our country's type of guy. You know, not one of them flag waving dudes or whatever. But the dude got blown up by an IED in Iraq, and I met the guy before. I haven't seen him in years, but somebody came asking me for help for him, and I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm not taking these Neurontin, and I wasn't at the time anyway. I got like hundreds of them. Here's a whole prescription. Here's a whole bottle. Come back later, and I said, well, this is about all I can spare because I'm taking them now. And then I accidentally, like I said, uh, gatewayed him into, I might as well be honest, heroin by giving him some of my Valium, which, you know, it's a muscle relaxant. The guy is in a lot of pain from being blown up, and he was having muscle spasms in his neck. You know, it's like try to sleep with a muscle spasm sometimes. Just laying there in misery. So he got some sleep from that, but it also reminded him that sleep even better. So he went out and scored some smack, and it was kind of my fault. I feel too good about that. You know, I felt real bad about that. I didn't know, I didn't have the information, but I don't like being a part of that. You know, it's also illegal, of course, which I'm admitting to doing something illegal on here. But that's why my stash is a little smaller. I think there used to be 160 pills in there. I had like 160 extra volume. Because if you remember correctly, when they were prescribing me those blue pills, they want me to take like 70 milligrams a day. So that would be like 7 of those pills a day. And I'm like, fuck that. When they were switching me from Xanax to Valium, I was like, I need to be awake. I don't want to wake up in a puddle of piss or something. Um, Unfortunately, that can't happen with me because I have a permanently closed uh, valve in that area. One of my It's a lot better than the opposite thing that can happen to you, where you gotta have a bag on. Yeah, well, that's why my life is so much fun. Anyways, after that very terrible digression. Point is like they're giving me all this volume, and I was like I think one of the bottles had 240 on it or something like that, and it's like, yeah, it's not that hard, at least for me, to switch from Xanax to Valium. It's different, and sometimes it was uncomfortable, but um, that's why I have all those extra blue ones. So This is really terribly irresponsible. Because what is it, the 10th? This would be the 6th is when I was due to get my prescription, right? So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. This would be 5 days in cold turkey. I'd be in the fucking psych unit right now if I didn't have a stockpile to dip into. And, you know, it's my current bottle even that I kept where it is got like 5 pills in it. I haven't taken any this morning. Um, I just poured whatever. I figured, well, they'll give them to me. So I poured. I had like the 21 extra from the previous prescription was in this bottle, and whatever extra from this last prescription. So I just poured. Well, there's yellow ones in there. Just poured them in there. But I can't get my heart doctor to give me my blood thinner after leaving 2 messages. I can't get my volume prescriber to give me uh, the benzo that I'm dependent on. That'll be 5 days in cold turkey. It's like, thank God that I'm not a newbie. 'Cause I would be in the emergency room right now. Because that is like, I had 2 reasons for checking into the psych unit in January of 2018. The one of them was to try to get help with CRPS, and the other one is I ran out of benzos. And if your option is going into cold turkey or going into a psych unit, that's not an option. If you have a heart condition, especially, go into the psych unit. Okay, that wasn't no option for me. It's like, yeah, I can sit around and suffer and be utterly miserable and being cold turkey and wonder if I'm going to die having a heart condition, or I can go into a psych unit. I've been in psych units before and hang out with some really interesting people and eat some food. I did not know a psych unit was like be so much like a prison. It's much different than the last time I was in there, but I wasn't in a psych unit for since the 80s. I guess you can't call the pain management unit a psych unit. That was like the last psych type place that I was in before 2018. Was during the Gulf War in 1991. I was in the pain management unit of Cleveland Clinic for 38 days. That, of course, is my story where I came home and my sister had all my possessions piled up in the corner and she threw me out without telling me. That's how I found out I was thrown out of her house. Was I come home from the hospital and all my stuff was just piled up in the corner. Which, yeah, that's all old news. I got so many stories like that. That's like, oh, somebody did that to you. You must have been a really bad guy in a former life because you seem like you're all right. Seem like you're a pretty nice guy. Why do people do this shit? Bad people will do bad shit. Crazy people will do crazy shit. Got nothing to do with you, in your behavior. I really don't want to get my day started. I'm gonna get rid of this gum because it's starting to taste poisonous. Why, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to start my day, man. I never want to start my day. I don't want to. I hate waking up in the morning. It's like every time you wake up, you gotta like reacquaint yourself with who you are. I don't. I talk to other people about this, and I think it's the same for everybody. You have that second if you wake up from a really sound sleep where you're like, it's only like a couple of seconds where you're like, okay, my name is such and such, I am such and such, and my life is such and such, you know. But every morning, it's like waking up in hell, you know. I don't like to be overly dramatic or whatever, but CRPS is not a party. My family life, not a party. My living circumstances, not a party. The benzo dependence, not a party. My physical limitations where I don't get to do anything that I love, not a party. So every morning I have to wake up and I'm like, oh, this is where I live now in this tiny little room, you know. And I think about the good things, like, oh, I'm gonna go out and get my morning coffee, which is offset by the smell of cat shit usually these days, since my cat don't want to leave the house no more. I didn't have to clean the litter box like all summer and all of last winter, which was spoiled me because he's just an outside cat. But now he feels uncomfortable outside, like maybe vulnerable because he's old, or maybe like he's just like, I'm fucking retired from that shit. I'm out to game, man. I'm gonna just lay up in here and wait to die. But anyways, my morning ritual of like that couple of seconds where you have to reacquaint yourself with who you are, then it all comes crashing down on me. I'm like, ugh, another day of this. And then I'm like, well, I can watch baseball on my big screen TV. That's a good thing. Get my coffee. I like my coffee. I hope the cat doesn't leave a growler. And I go out there and I'm like, yeah, god damn, that stinks. And he smells so bad. Sometimes I can smell it through a closed door in my bedroom. That's how bad this cat smells. Because he don't bother to cover it up. At least he goes in the litter box, but I have to cover it up. But, you know, it's like, then I look at the fact like, well, I don't have to be bothered with people. That's pretty cool. I don't have to go to work and do something that I hate, that's beneath me to do, that's soul sucking and miserable. That's pretty cool. You know, I have guaranteed income. That's pretty cool. I have a roof over my head. I even get free food nowadays. You know, I got to pay a healthy price for all this shit. And the fact that I'm not allowed to do any things that I love, and I'm in pain all the time, and then you can't walk and all that other shit. But, you know, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I do miss fishing and playing guitar, and I don't enjoy selling cards. That's probably why I've been on here for so long. I used to enjoy that. I don't enjoy it anymore. And like it's just funny to me. Like on my first volley of cards that I sent out, I saw 11 cards for $637 gross. I found out that the fees, of course, are even steeper. They even tap into your shipping, and then like this guy pays me $120 or more, at least $120 for these Baker Mayfield Prism 201s, a very hot card nowadays. I throw in extra cards, one of them which is like, I need to find an extra card that's not so expensive, and I'm like, fuck it. And I threw it in there. It's lost in the mail somewhere. The mailman obviously delivered it to his next door neighbor, and his neighbor's like, I don't know what this shit is, but I'm keeping it. Or they're like, I think these might be worth money. You know, um, I'll never see those again. I would. This guy like was honest and like put return to sender and said this is the wrong address. It would have already happened, so they're never to be seen from again. But I'm not surprised that that happened on my first venture. Then I'm realizing like I don't like this stuff. It takes more patience than I have. Same reason I don't play guitar anymore. It just takes more patience. My nerves can't handle it. My nerves are being literally and figuratively benzo damaged. Um, and yet I have billions of cards to sell. And I don't know how many packages I have. I probably have to end up buying more mailers. I hope I got enough mailers to cover this volley of cards. But yeah, I really don't want to. Like I said, I just don't want to get my day started. So I talked about. At least I talked quickly, somewhat fluently, and not completely about sports or selling cards. I mean the inexcusable nature of the medical community. I should have put this at the beginning, but I didn't. You know, this is the part that people care about. Uh, it's beyond the pale. It is absurd. You know, you could potentially be putting my life in danger. I have CRPS and a heart condition, and you're 5 days late on my benzodiazepine prescription. 5 fucking days. I could go into cardiac uh, arrest. I could go into arrhythmia, and I could be in the hospital. I could be having seizures. I mean, I don't have any connections anymore because I severed ties with my connections. I don't have any street connections anymore. I decided to stream life and decomplicate my life as much as possible. It's like if you fuck with me, you know, if you're on your 100th chance, you're not getting the 101st chance to fuck me over. Okay, you know, I don't have the patience for it. I used to be able to like laugh off the way people behaved and the shitty things that they would do. It's just like I didn't care because being a good natured soul and just prioritizing, it's like, let it go, whatever, doesn't matter. Um, I'm not like that anymore. Everything gets on my nerves, so that's why card selling. I know how to do it and I know how to make money doing it, but it wasn't a good choice. And then spending money that you don't have is never a good choice. But damn it, President, Senate, and the House of Representatives all agreed on the stimulus check. Trump even went so far to say that it might even be more than $1,200. And now the Senate, the bill that they want, it doesn't include a check at all. So, I mean, it is late in the game now, people. It's like November's coming up around the corner, election time. The only thing that's going to pressure them into doing anything is election time. So, yeah, I'm writing that off as like another horrible decision that I made among the hundreds of horrible decisions, possibly thousands, that I've made in my life. So, yeah, I'm not, that money, as far as I'm concerned, that money ain't going to happen. And I'm actually in shock over it. It's like, why would you do that? Because I think what it is, like I said earlier in the video, is like the Republicans are so confident they can just give us this. Because like, look, man, you're running Joe Biden and this other woman, they got like horrible baggage. The Biden guy can barely string a sentence together. And it's like, yeah, I think the Republicans are really confident that they can get away with to us. Which I'm not telling you how to vote, or I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I'm just kind of analyzing it from an outsider's perspective. I don't care who you vote for, or if you don't vote, or for I'm not voting. I don't give a fuck. Uh, Whatever happens, happens. I mean, I listen to like YouTube videos to find out like what's going on, and they're always wrapped up in identity politics, and the liberals this, or the conservatives that, Trump's the MAGA hat people that. It's like it's just divide and conquer, man. And yeah, I think that has to be the deal. Is why they're not coughing up the money. Uh, is they're like don't need to. We're going to get reelected anyway because yeah, the other party is just so weak, and they look so bad. And yeah, I mean, I might even watch the debates just to see Joe Biden try to navigate the English language because he's got issues. And believe me, I hate Donald Trump, but he's a better at speaking, and he just comes across better than the other guy. The guy is completely amoral, completely a complete douchebag. But I don't know Joe Biden. There's stuff about him doing this and doing that that's inappropriate. I was like, oh, you can go into it. I just listened to the guy talk, and I'm like, yeah, you don't really want to get in a debate, man. You have real issues. I mean, how stupid was it to say that if you don't uh, vote Democrat. You ain't black. I mean, you don't have to be a genius. First of all, you don't want to bring up race at all. It's a hot button topic. Second of all, telling black people they ain't black ain't a good plan as far as getting their vote. I mean, as far as I don't believe in race, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people it's a very important part of their identity. Like I'm a white guy, and like the other person, like I'm white, like I'm black, I'm Latino. I pissed the guy off who was Puerto Rican or something because I called him Latino and he made a distinction between I don't know I called him Hispanic and he got mad and I'm like, look, man, do you hate Hispanics? Or is it an insult to call you a Hispanic? He's like, what do you got against Hispanics? I just turned it around on him because super genius, mega brain, nothing else going for me. So I just flipped it around on him. I was like, what the fuck? But what the fuck, man? It's like, but yeah, since that's a big deal to people, you can't go around telling them like it'd be like saying if you don't vote for Trump, you ain't white. You know, it's just dumb. You just don't say nothing like that. It's stupid. But I can't. Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock now. I can't do this no more. I could do this all day, of course, but I can't afford to do this anymore. Shit. Uh, that aid worker. I don't know if I turn my phone off or my phone. I don't even know if my phone's on. They could be trying to get a hold of me to tell me that's happened before because their agency is run all screwed up. And my current aid worker is dealing with heart issues, so I don't know, man. I got to get off here and deal with this stupid life stuff. How much I talk about the nonsensical bullshit that goes on in the world and use my big bulging brains since I don't have a big bulging anything else anymore. Damn it. On that note, adios. Hope you got a few laughs out of that and you thought it was worthwhile. Waste of an hour and a half. And God bless good fortune, peace, and good tidings. Pick one of those, whichever one you like the best. And take it and hold it to your heart. Goodbye.